Jacob Zuma supporters face crisis. Organizers say no money for food, transport. Fewer supporters for former President Jacob Zuma are expected outside the Pietermaritzburg High Court on Tuesday when his high-powered legal teams bid to have his corruption charges permanently expunged under Day 2. When the hearing began on Monday, about 120 buses came from all over the province and brought in about 80 supporters to the court's doorsteps. The supporters were later addressed by Zuma shortly after the proceedings of the day had been concluded. A supporter who spoke to independent media said they were informed by their organizers at the local level that there was no money to hire buses and transport would only be provided again on the last day of the hearing. The last day of the hearing may be Thursday or Friday, depending on when arguments end. We will not be at court today as we have been told that there is no money for buses and food for supporters of the former president. We will, however, be back at court on the last day of the case to support him, a supporter from Durban who alerted independent media of the crisis, said. He said they were disappointed to have not been provided with transport, but they would still be available when asked to come to court to show support again when the hearing concludes. I would have loved to be there throughout the hearing to support the former president, but because of the transport issues, I will not go there. However, I will wait for our organizer to call us to return to court, said the woman. Bishop Lucy Dube, a coordinator of the support group, confirmed that indeed they are facing financial constraints, hence their decision to reserve the little resources they have for the last day. We are trying to save costs here as this thing is a logistical nightmare. So if you have to bring 80 buses from Durban and about 40 from here, KZN Midlands, the budget will be high and we basically don't have a budget but rely on sponsors. We don't want to rip off our sponsors, Dube said. He added that they expected their supporters from the Gauteng and the Free State, who were lodging in Pietermaritzburg, to pop in before leaving for their homes. Jacob Zuma, to address supporters after court, has a lot of ground to cover. Former President Jacob Zuma in the Pietermaritzburg High Court, where he is hoping to avoid corruption charges. While he was initially expected to use the hour-long lunchtime court breakout to address his supporters, former President Jacob Zuma would now address them when the proceedings end at 4 p.m. on Monday, relaying the message to hundreds of eagerly waiting supporters who are clad in gold ANC t-shirts. Super Zuma, a provincial executive member of the ANC in KZN, said Zuma changed his mind because he wants to cover a lot of ground. Speaking in Zulu to the supporters camped at the Freedom Park opposite the Pietermaritzburg High Court, Super said they started showing their support for the former president as early 2005 when he was briefly charged after he was fired as the country's deputy president by then President Thabo Mbeki, taking an indirect swipe at the National Prosecuting Authority, NPA. Super said there would always be judiciary chaos when prosecutors who are supposed to be independent collude with politicians. Let me tell you this, we have to know that a country will have judiciary chaos when prosecutors start to collude with politicians, he said in an apparent reference to Zuma's legal team argument that the corruption case is tainted by political interference. He further told the supporters that Zuma is innocent until he is proven otherwise by courts, not public opinions as it is at the present moment. Not to be left out, the lunchtime platform was used by the leader of the Black First Land First, Andile Mngxitama, to lynch the ANC and its president, Cyril Ramaphosa, and white people. He opened his vociferous address by announcing bad news that his party was not going to parliament, saying black people will not be represented, and concluded by lynching Ramaphosa. South Africans have made a mistake by electing Ramaphosa president when killed people in Marikana for profits. He will beat you up as he sides with white people. You take a sellout and make him a president, you will regret it, he said. Apparently angered by a humorous article penned by a weekend newspaper, the spokesperson of the Mkanda Wes's Military Veterans Association, Carl Niehaus, went for the throat for the media industry, accused it of trying to water down the achievements and the proud history of the military wing of the ANC. He said that was shameful and singled out some journalists, saying the veterans MK will take action against them.